Hey everybody, it's Eddie J on Crypto. I hope you're having a great day. There is a lot. Wow, I seem to say that every day. Sometimes there's slow news, but today there seems to be a lot. My dog is stealing his blanket. Anyway, House of Representatives Committee on Financial Services has requested a legal framework around the possibility of a US CBDC. The United States has been moving slow, like ridiculously slow. This should have happened a long time ago, but at least this is a pragmatic step in the right direction. That's what it is. Former SEC attorney, let me get this right, Teresa Goody Guillén. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not, please, Teresa, reach out to me. I'll make all kinds of apologies. She says the best way for a project to gird themselves against the SEC when they launch their new project is to seek legal consultation. Clearly, it's to seek legal consultation from somebody like her who actually used to be at the SEC. I don't disagree. I really don't. I think there are two things that should happen. You can speak to somebody like her and try to, make sure that you don't fall within the securities definition. I think something else you can do is solicit advice from the CFTC, right? How do I make sure that what I'm doing is more of a commodity? It doesn't mean that you are, you'd have to talk to an attorney about this, but my take would be if I had a project like that, I would go talk to the CFTC, because it doesn't say that you don't fall in the security space, but it would probably put you on the radar for the CFTC, as well as position you better to be shaped as a commodity. Make sure that you're decentralized, make sure that you're just doing different, the various things that would make them look at you versus the SEC, and so that the SEC doesn't, come after you the way they're coming after everybody else, since, their idea of regulation is enforcement. Enforcement of what? That's something else this attorney said, is that you're enforcing things that are confusing to everybody else. Take Kim Kardashian. As far as she's concerned, I would think, if I was her, if I put #ad, I think I'm all right. But you're not, right? You're not. So I think it's difficult for people and businesses, she is a business, to figure out what's right and what's wrong in the eyes of the SEC. So they're enforcing things that probably nobody would have thought of. Think about this. It was previously stated that if a president makes a statement via Twitter, it is an official statement, just like companies and everybody else. So you have to watch what you say. So if you abide by placing #ad there, why would you think that the SEC would be coming after you? I don't know. Maybe if their regulations and rules and all that stuff were more transparent and more geared toward the crypto space, people would have a better understanding and probably follow the doggone rules. Just a thought. I love watches. I know people don't use watches. They've got, the electronic watches that give you a ton of information. They've got phones. So not everybody's really using watches. Even your cable box, if you still have one of those, is going to tell you the time. But Bucherer, I don't know. I'm probably butchering the hell out of that name. No pun intended. Sorry. They were formerly known as Tourneau, as in Tourneau Corner, the big watch and jewelry place around the world. This Swiss company has just bought, let me get this name right, they bought Adresta. Adresta is a digital authentication startup. Now I want you to take this in. That is awesome. Awesome. Because what they're doing is they're saying, well, we buy and sell and trade jewelry and watches like all the time. Wouldn't it be great if they had some kind of a process that would better authenticate and follow that piece throughout its life? Yeah. So I think that's a big deal. It kind of follows in the footsteps of Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo is owned by Stellantis, and that's a very big deal. Hear me out. Which used to be Fiat Chrysler, by the way. So Alfa Romeo is using an NFT called, and they announced this back in August. I'm sorry, this is late, but it's following in the footsteps of. They announced that they're going to use this thing called a Notale NFT, where they're going to be able to track their cars' services, the servicing of their cars through this NFT process, which means that here's a record of everything, and then it would be able to spit out a certificate for that vehicle. Amazing. That's just great. So again, when you look at these companies are starting to realize they can take certified pre-owned vehicles, certified pre-owned, just that term, and take it to the next level, leveraging blockchain technology. And I think that's awesome. When you talk about adoption, this is where it's going. This is what we're talking about. Again, following in the footsteps of Ark Investments, Valkyrie Funds is also launching their separately managed asset space. It's a whole platform geared the same way. They're going to offer digital asset management to institutional investors, family houses, all that good stuff. That's big. Something else that's big is, again, Lugano, Switzerland. Wow. Let me think about this. I think it's March. Let me just look at. Did I write that down in my notes? I think way back in March. I think March 4th, actually. It's my daughter's birthday. That's why I'm ringing. March 4th, Lugano, Switzerland said, hey, we're going to move toward making Bitcoin and Tether legalized tender in Switzerland. Well, just a little while ago, quietly, McDonald's in that population of 63,000 city is now accepting Bitcoin and Tether. I'm giggling because I get it. It's, adoption is moving really, really slow, but it's steady too. And I want you to think about that. The more adoption there is, the more use there is, the more adoption, the more use, and they just keep feeding off of each other. And I think that's a very good thing, a ridiculously good thing. So when I look at that, I'm kind of like, yep, more businesses are moving in that direction, more companies are moving in that direction. Don't fall for, these companies that are trying to do the rope-a-dope. Say one thing, do another. I gave examples about how JP Morgan was doing that, Jamie Dimon, and other companies doing the same thing. Yeah, we don't like, crypto, blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, they're doing all these things in the crypto space, doing all these things in the digital asset space. Pay attention. There are a lot of deals that happen over the counter, meaning strictly between two parties with no intermediary. So when you hear about companies that are, that just bought big chunks of Bitcoin and things like that, yeah, it didn't happen on the open market. It happened behind the scenes via OTC. Pay attention, right? What I tell people, what I tell my kids, follow the money. Everybody knows that. Follow the money. But I tell my kids, don't just follow the money, right? Follow what that money can do in each step. That's what I want them to pay attention to. There's a lot of information there. Try to use it to your best advantage. What's next? Hamilton Lane. Huge company. Huge. I mean, it's not the size of a Fidelity or BlackRock, but a company that has 832 million in assets under management. I'm sorry, 832 billion, is it? I forget. I'm going to have to look that one up. But either way, it's a lot of dough. So think about this. And I'm pretty sure it's 832 billion. They're actually tokenizing through a partnership with Securitize Markets 3 of their funds. BlackRock is doing it. JP Morgan is doing it. I believe Fidelity is doing it. And now you have companies, smaller companies that are kind of flying underneath that, big boy, big girl radar, like Hamilton Lane, that are also doing it. What does that mean? You should be looking at this as there are trillions of dollars in assets under management that can be looked at as investment vehicles, meaning those assets can be used as leverage to make investments. Untapped pools of money. When I say pool or ocean, oh, ocean. We'll go with oceans of money that can be tapped into. That's why that move is important. I'm going to end with this from a news perspective. Everybody knows I am not a fan of Jim Cramer, like not at all. Well, Tuttle Capital has taken things to the absolute next level. They recognized the noise on the street and said, you know what? We're going to give you the ability to short Jim Cramer. Let me give you the name of this. It's the Tuttle Capital's Inverse Cramer ETF. It is commonly known to a wide swath of people that, you know, you might actually do well doing the opposite of what Jim Cramer tells everybody. Ding. If you look back in previous videos, I've got a video out there that demonstrates how Jim Cramer flip-flopped in less than a couple of months on a topic. I have to look that up. I don't have it at my fingertips, just remembering that I did that. So yeah, an ETF that will allow you to short his ideas, be able to go, oh, we'll do the opposite of what you say. I'm sorry, that's funny to me. It's ridiculously funny to me. Anyway, let's get to the markets. We already know that, you know, we have gas prices going up. The United States is going to tap into the strategic reserve. I wish people would really understand this. The strategic reserve is not meant for, you know, this kind of thing. Well, sort of meant for release in this kind of situation, but it's not going to have that big of an impact. Okay? It's just not. It's also not infinite. So it's only going to last, but for so long. So that's something to contemplate. The other part is that I think that the problem around energy is really, really big. And it's hard for just one group of people to kind of solve that, right? You've got businesses that want everybody to come to work. That leads to more transportation. That leads to more energy use, blah, blah, blah. If those people are home, the things that are already on are going to be already on, right? Your refrigerator is already on. The energy that your flat screen TV takes up is really not that much. So the only other burden that you're bringing is you're going to cook a little bit more for breakfast and lunch. And your work computer is going to be on, like mine. But not that much of an impact if you stay your butt home. Whereas if I go to the office, there's a whole lot of energy use that goes into going to that office. And that's just one aspect of energy use. And again, like I said yesterday, you still have China that's about to open up. Now, again, I think China opening up helps with some supply chain issues, but it's going to damage on the energy side. I think there's a push within the United States to kind of start bringing things back home and start manufacturing at home, getting back to basics. And I think that's a good thing. Anyway, let's get to today's numbers. I think that's going to be a good thing. Nothing is up incredibly high or anything else like that. Winners and losers. Let me just refresh this. I hadn't refreshed this until, since I started the video. And let's see, what's up? All the way down to about here. Is there anybody in this group that matters to me? Ethereum name service is up 8%. I am not a holder of that, but I can understand why they're up 8%. Let's see, is there anybody else that's within that space that I'm paying attention to? And the answer would be no. Is there anybody on the downside, which is only Celsius Network? Duh. Celsius and Voyager, I mean, that's actually kind of funny. But, no, there's nothing else going on. Everything else is, below the 5% threshold that I have. So let's move over here. Fear and Greed Index, 26. From extreme fear up to fear. I thought it would have gone lower, but I guess bad news is good news for the market, because that's what we got yesterday. And things are going up. Okay, All right, but remember, that's backward looking. We still have, if you look between, here's my inner band right here, depicted by the green lines, and my outer band depicted by the blue lines. Bitcoin is now still healthily toward the bottom half, but healthily within my middle band. And right now it's at about $20,000. About 20,000, almost 100. Well, now it's 20,100. That's actually pretty cool. I'm hoping that it stays at this level, but I could see another dip, but I don't think that dip would be big. I really don't. Do I think we've hit a bottom? That's hard to say. You know, it takes time to actually determine if the markets have hit a bottom. I don't think we've hit a bottom. I really don't. I really think that, you know, we could have hit a bottom. We won't know for at least another 2 months if we've hit a bottom or not. And that puts us into Christmas season and everything else. Then followed by Christmas season, you have the taxpayer cometh, and between that line from January 1st going forward, there's that whole calculation of how long you have to work to pay off Christmas. But anyway, but things right now are up. XRP been bouncing, you know, at that 49 cent, even above to 50 cent line for a couple of days now. That's a good thing. It seems that Ripple is on its way to setting something, going higher, setting something, going higher, setting something, going higher. So quietly, we just pay attention, right? That's the idea. Cardano, not moving all that much. 43, it seems just to be stuck at that point now. I don't get it. I don't understand why. I am paying attention to Matic, though. Again, another one. Just quietly moving up, just steadily moving up. And don't forget, we have more news expected out of Polygon. I don't know what the time frame is, but I would expect between now and sometime in first quarter, we should be hearing something coming out of that whole Disney, you know, accelerator deal that they have, as well as other things they have in the pipeline. So I'm pretty interested in what happens. Looking at it from a numbers perspective, you know, just from a text perspective, it makes it easier for me to see, you know, what's going on in this kind of level. So 30 days out, Solana is up, you know, 2.31%, not a big move. Doge, it's only at 6.5 cents about. Anything else that I'm really paying attention to? Not really. SHIB is, you know, 11.35. I'd like to see 13. I'd like to see it shave zeros. It's not going to shave zeros for a really long time. But I hope that it goes up, you know, over a period of time. So we'll see what happens. Uniswap, who else was I looking for? That was Polygon, XRP. Scroll down. Flow, that was the other one I wanted to see. 69. It seems to be stuck at $69. VeChain, you know, that project is not moving from a numbers perspective, but it is constantly doing things. So I think they're about ready for an upward move that would make me smile. VeChain is a good project. I put my stamp on that one. And you looking at it being ranked on about number 33 in terms of market cap, you have to look at that project and say to yourself, yeah, that's not a punk project. Anything 50, ranked 50 and above, or 50 below, you know what I mean, 1 to 50, got to pay attention to it. You have to pay attention to it. Not everything that I think in that range is something that I would get involved in, but it is something that I pay attention to. Hedera HBAR, it's not moving all that much. I would hope that it will. It's down 80% year to date. Yeesh, that's painful. But I think that they've got some tech over there that can do something. Just want to see where they're going, what they do. I am expecting Chili's to start making moves as we start moving toward the World Cup. I'm going to be interested in seeing what happens from there. So 21 cents. I'm hoping, you know, the World Cup coming up in November. I'm hoping that makes big moves for them. Anyway, this is Eddie J on crypto. If you like what I'm doing, like the journey that me and my kids are on, do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, absolutely hit the notification bell so that you know whenever I'm dropping a new video. Hey, don't forget to tell your friends. Have a good one. Bye-bye.